Boom. We are live again. Happy New Year, everybody. Merry Christmas for all those that I missed the last 2 weeks. Welcome back. I took a vacation, went to go see my mother for Christmas. Then my return flight was delayed, and so I was there for an extra 3 days. And then, of course, the following Sunday was New Year's Eve or New Year's Day, and so we weren't going to. I wasn't going to do anything that day, so it's been a couple weeks, but I'm back. Hopefully, doing regular streams, and we're still working on this Valkyrie diorama project. I got the base floor here, sitting here. I got this cart glued down. Got the wheel chocks in place, so I know exactly where to place the Valkyrie. And I actually started the final piece to this whole thing is these figures that are going to go on it. And so what I've got so far is the pilot right here. He's done, and I can show you him. Now he's pinned. I can actually just remove him if I want to, but there's a pin in one of his feet, so which actually makes it nice because I can actually just turn him around so you can see the front. But he will stand probably around just about like that, facing the Valkyrie on the ground. So the other figure that I actually finished this week, and I'm hoping I can get through all of these this week and then be done with this finally and move on to something new, is getting all these crew members done. This one's complete. This is a ordnance tech, okay, and it's easier for the camera to focus. So I've already got a hole here drilled. I'm just going to plop him in place. So when I put the Valkyrie down here, his hands are on the gun pod. I took a careful measurement to get this right because I really needed him to be in just the right spot. So there you go. You can kind of see the way he's going to be orientated with the Valkyrie underneath, and I think I did a pretty good job of getting it right. So when I can actually put him in the ground first, and then just slide in the Valkyrie, and it works out perfect. And then I'll have all the other holes for all each other guys. So the one I was actually working on today is one of the avionics crew. It's just a green vest here. I've got all the base colors down. They're all gloss, so that's why it looks really shiny right now, except for the flesh tone. Let's see if I can get it to focus so I can get a little bit better look. So once I do some panel line wash on him tonight, he'll be ready to go. Oh, I got to do some decals too. One of the cool things was these readout figures didn't come with any markings. You pretty much have to paint everything, but I forgot that I had bought a Hasagawa Navy Flight Crew Set A, and it came with some aircraft carrier flight crew figures that were, plastic. You got to glue them together, but the molds are really just not very good. Not nearly as nice as these redox, but it came with a nice set of decals. So the cool part about it is I'm using these guys with the exceptional detail in the print, and then I'm using these really good quality decals from Hasagawa. So that's how I got the ones on the back. If you look at the ordnance tech there, he's got one down his back that says VF-111, and then 2W on the top and back of his helmet, and that's fairly accurate. I don't know if it's 100% accurate, but it's fairly accurate with U.S. Navy carrier flight crew members. So I'm kind of sticking to that a little bit. I'm using a little bit of my own color schemes. I'm sticking with the vests and stuff for the same colors that they would have for, like, say, avionics or other crew. In fact, the rest of these guys are all going to be done in green. There's going to be various places on the diorama, but I only had one ordnance tech, so that's why he's the only guy in a red vest. The rest will be all green. So I'm going to start painting these other ones here. I got two guys standing. I got another guy crouching down. This guy's going to be on top of a platform in front or next to the cockpit. So he's set up with a microphone, and his goggles are on the top of his head. off his face. And then these two guys are wearing their goggles. They both have microphones too. One of them will be standing next to the charge cart, which is mounted here, plugs in here when I put the Valkyrie down. The other one, I'm not sure where I'm going to have him standing. Most likely look like a supervisor standing around just getting paid anyway. So that's what we're talking about. I got to bring up comments here. I started something new. Oh, hey, there you are. What's up? What's up, John? Big John. Good to have you, man. So I started with the 30-second timer. It makes it a little easier for people to join in and not miss anything instead of me just talking right away and talking to nobody because they haven't tuned in yet. So tried that out. Eventually I'll probably have my own video clip or something like that. But in the meantime, I'm going to keep working on this guy. I got to do some, like I said, some panel line wash, and then I'm going to get on to these guys. I've got my colors set up here. So I'm going to move this out of the way and give myself some room here. I got to do one more coat of some smoke gray on his goggles. I just used like a little bit of a white background, and then I put the clear smoke gray over that, so it kind of gives the illusion of the glass of their goggles, a little bit of depth to it, because you can kind of see through it. You still see that color behind it, but it's not completely entirely just gloss black. So anyway, that's Mr. Color 101, in case you're wondering. That's a smoke gray. It's one of their clear colors. And yeah, it's good for doing visors and things like this that you want to look like tinted glass, really. And since I've already been using this today, it's pretty much stirred up already. Just giving it a quick turn. So how's everybody's new year going? How's 2023 treating everybody so far? For me, it's been kind of challenging. Dealing with family medical issues and stuff like that. It's taxing. It takes its toll on the family and takes its toll, just mentally, just drained. I'm tired. It's a lot to deal with, but I'm grateful for these times that we have to sit there and talk to fellow model builders, do some building and chat, have a good time. It's a nice getaway. So there, I just gave him another little gloss on those. I'm gonna focus. There we go. You can see just on the top of his head there where he's wearing those goggles. Nice little. Now I'm going to flat coat this, but then I'll go back over it with another coat of this that will give those a gloss again. I just wanted to get the right tint there before I do any flat coating after that. So that's a quick step, and then I'm going to let that dry for a second, and then I'll go over everything with some Tamiya panel line wash. Not too bad at all. Good. Excuse me. Still have that stupid lingering cough every now and then. And it's all from that last respiratory thing we had a few weeks back. God, it's been over a month. It's been since November. It was just a nasty flu. It wasn't COVID or anything. I actually tested like 3 times, and all came out negative. But ever since then, I just get this dry cough every now and then, and I think I'm going to do this crouching guy one, this one here. Because, yeah, that's one of the more interesting guys. I'll leave these other 2 here for now. This guy's really kind of cool. And I always talk about the detail of these guys. They're just amazing. You can see that in their faces are just incredible. With the boom microphone, everything separate piece. And his hand is down. That actually supports and helps balance the figure on the ground. His fingertips actually touch the ground. So Now I have a pin in his foot as well, but I won't be needing it when I secure him to the kit because he's going on top of a flat platform, so I won't be able to drill a hole through that for one, and then two, I don't have to worry about placing him in any specific spot because it'll just be glued down to the top. So in the meantime, I'm going to start painting the rest of the head. Already did the faces, and I've used this Citadel wash, the flesh shade, to kind of highlight the facial features and the hands and the face. Now I'm just going to go around and start painting the clothing. So if I remember right, yeah, it was done in gray. So German gray, that is number 40. And oops, what did I do here? Hey, good day. What's up? What's up, sailor? How's it going, man? Watching me on Twitch. I like it. Don't get a ton of Twitch watchers yet. I'm pretty new to Twitch, so got a few followers over there. It's nice that all the comments come through one place and I can see exactly where they're at, so I can talk to you guys accordingly. I can tell where you guys are watching me from. So, but I appreciate you coming in nonetheless. It's all good. So I've got several brushes here these are my go-tos, a couple little medium ones and some really fine ones for some of the really small stuff. But what I tend to do when I paint these is I try to go for my lowest areas first and then build the layers up. So a lot of times it won't be exactly clean as I'm painting, but I'm going to be touching those areas up as I get closer to the top of the surface, because I'm going around his face right now and that's pretty close, but then there's going to be other layers on top of that will clean up any of my little mistakes if I have any at all. So all is well, just relaxing, enjoying my day off. Nice. You have tomorrow off too? I have tomorrow off too, so it's always nice. I don't like working Saturdays, but it is kind of nice getting up on a Monday and just realizing you can take the whole day off, kind of chill out. So going up here, because on the top of his, actually that's probably, no, yeah, that's going to be green. I'll have to redo that. That's part of the front of the helmet. All right. No biggie. I'll come back over it. All these crew members have like a head sock kind of over their heads, and you can see the border of it as it wraps around their face. So right now it all looks like flesh tone, but I can see the line there, so I've got to actually carefully paint that area around their face that kind of covers their head. I think it's something that they wear under their helmets. So you can kind of just see a line that kind of frames his face around the edges. So I've got a pretty small brush here, so like I said, I can get into those areas pretty tightly. The whole point is, the only thing I don't want to do is I can always add more. I just don't want to try to repaint the face at this point, because that was the only thing that I airbrushed on these was the flesh tone, just because it needs to be a nice thin layer of paint. If you hand paint something like a face, you can wash out the facial features, especially as small details that they're present on these guys. Their faces are just really the highlight of it. And I'd hate to ruin that by putting a big thick layer of paint over it. So as long as I got to work around this boom mic, that's the hard part. But again, I can always touch things up. I just take your time and add a little bit, add a little bit, add a little bit. This one also has because he's got the microphone, there's a cable going down to his vest. That will be painted as well, a different color. Let's see. I'm stationed in Japan. Oh, So nice. I wonder, are you in the Navy or different branch? Which because we've got a friend over there who's in the Navy right now, stationed in Japan. Um, but I think he's getting ready to move again to. I think he's going to Colorado. He's going to restation him out there. He's done 2 years now, I think, over there. I don't know if he's got to do 3. I can't remember. But yeah, it's nice having a connection in Japan, especially when you want a Navy too. Okay, well maybe you know him. Do you know a guy named uh, Ryan Bartoletti? RB Gunpla Works. Maybe you recognize that name. Yeah, he's over there too, and it'd be funny if you guys knew each other. Doesn't ring a bell. Oh well. So there's a lot of sailors over there. So anyhow, it was nice having him there, especially for a lot of friends here, because you can always get items that you can't get over here and get them quickly from somebody that's there on the ground. You know, model kits and tools and also some cool stuff. And I've gotten quite a few things from him too. One of them was those that chisel sharpener that I showed a few weeks back. That was one of the things I was able to get through him, which we really just can't find it here. So, well, maybe if he gets moved to Colorado, maybe we'll have to lean on you if we need some specific P Bandai stuff or something we can't get over here. I don't know. I'm just kidding. I'm not. I don't order a ton of stuff from him. I mean, I've got a few things delivered, but there's some guys that are constantly getting boxes every day. It seems like. So right now, again, I'm just going down, and I'm painting that kind of that sock around the head. You can see now the darker line there. It's just around the edges of it, and then I'll build up and paint the goggles, or the frame of the goggles, the headphones, the boom mic. The headphones have like 2 colors on them too. They've got this tan kind of, I don't know, just the way I've been looking at pictures online, and they all have these they almost look like black headphones, but then there's a tan color on the outside of them. So I've been following that as a guide. This is my first time on shore duty now, so I'm taking advantage of my time. Just started building gunpowder. Oh, right. Oh, cool. Good to have you, man. It's all good. Yeah, I do a lot of stuff. I really have a love for Macross. I like Gundam too, but lately I've been on a Macross kick. And I think after this, because this was a pretty big project, and I actually stopped it a couple of times in between, once to do a commission, and then another time it was to finish a base for something I took to California when I was flying down there for SCGMC last November. So I didn't realize how long, because I'd actually started this close to January last year, but again, I had to stop a couple of times for various little projects in between. I don't normally do that very often, but if somebody wants me to build something for them and they want to pay me to do it, well, then of course I'm gonna. I don't always stop. I tend to say, if you have a deadline, I don't do deadlines. But this was a friend of mine, and I had no problem stopping and finishing a project later to do his commission for him. So I really only did like 2 full kits last year. One of them was this one, which I counted only because I'm really done with it. It's just, these are just figures that I'm placing around the diorama. but the actual core project, the Valkyrie and all the wiring and all that shit's all done. So I haven't started any customs yet, but I'm feeling comfortable enough to, well, that's cool. Yeah, it can be kind of intimidating, and I know there's a guy in the chat who can attest to this because he just literally told me this today, and it can kind of be unnerving because you spend a lot of money, you work very hard, and you spend money on these kits, and it's like, gosh, you want to do some custom work, but the first thing that usually comes to mind is like, man, I don't want to screw this up because I paid a lot of money for it, you know. So if you can get past that fear of maybe making a mistake, knowing that you can go back and fix it if you do do something wrong, then, you know, once you start doing custom work, there's no going back. I don't know, maybe you better rethink it because that's why I only end up getting 2 projects done a year now, or 1 project done a year, is because I end up doing so much custom work. I used to be able to pump out a kit about every month. Once a month, I'd have a finished Gundam. But now it seems like maybe 1 or 2 a year is all I end up getting done because I'm, you know, and this is a hobby. It's not something I do every day. I do it in my spare time. But it's funny. It's like as soon as you start doing custom work, you think, oh, I can do this. Or I'm going to add this, or I'm going to do this thing. And especially when, like with the Valkyrie, the wiring and custom work I did with it, you have to re-engineer how it goes together too, because you can't just follow it step by step out of the manual, because now you've got sections that have to be wired and have to be connected at various times. So you can kind of break it down into blocks, but you can't go step by step and finish it that way, especially when you're doing custom work like that. It's no joke how long custom stuff takes. Yeah. Thanks, Frozzy Bear. You're right. It's like sometimes it does. It just like you want to do it, but man, it's a time suck. Depending on how complicated you get. And most of the stuff I do isn't scratch building so much. I mean, a little bit of that, maybe some scribing, but typically it's LEDs or fiber optics or so. That's where I start getting crazy. And I've done, you know, like this kit has several LEDs, not as many as the first Valkyrie the first 148 scale Valkyrie I did. I did a Plamax 120 Gerwag a couple of years ago, and that was a lot of custom work, but there was a ton of space inside that because it's just so massive. So it wasn't that hard to put wiring and LEDs in it because there's just, like I said, there's so much room inside, but it was still took a year because there was actually more cleanup work that took time versus like the custom work. It was just because that as big as that kit was and as expensive as it was, you'd think the molds would be better, but they just weren't. And I'm not too overly impressed with things coming out of Max Factory, just because they're costly, they're expensive, and the molds are shit. And you have to do all this work to clean everything up. And that's a pain in my ass. I mean, I guess that's what makes us models. Or, you know, we get spoiled by Bandai. Bandai, you know, has revolutionized the way they make model kits. So you can pretty much shake the box and it'll go together. Kind of the same. This is just a hobby, and my kids. Oh, well, that's cool. You got your kids. That's nice. By the time I started doing this again, my kids were grown. They had their own interests. You know, my daughter still likes to tinker around with some things, but the other ones are off doing other stuff. And okay, so I got that step done. Now I think, what's next here? I guess I could do the helmet. Oh, I know what I'm going to do. I got to do his undershirt, because these guys have a different colored vest than their shirt. So I got to do the undershirt, and then I can do the goggles too, I suppose, which will be black. I'm going to touch that part on the goggles there with that green though first. There's like a little triangular shaped little exposed area of the helmet just under the goggles. And I thought it was that sock that I was talking about earlier, but it looks like actually part of the helmet is kind of peeking out underneath the goggles. So I'm just going to take my really fine brush here. I think I can just do this one and get in there and just paint that little section. I've already done the rest of the sock around it, but this is above that. So, and then I'll do the goggles in black, and that'll set off this piece. You'll be able to see it a lot better. Yeah, there we go. That looks good. Yeah, it looks really good. I'm going to have to look at this guy too, because I might have the same thing over here that I missed. I don't know. It might be. I did it in dark gray, but I think I'm going to do the same thing because the goggles are about the same position. In fact, it might actually be the same model that's that modeled the scan. That yeah, that looks way better. See, these guys are these figures were done with real live models that's posed in different things, and then they scanned them into the computer and printed them. It's a company out of gosh, where are they? I got a box right here. Yeah, where are they at? Reed Oak. I can't remember. Oh, France. Made in France. And they're really amazing. It took a while to get them, but it's well worth it if you like this level of detail. Especially if you're talking about modern military stuff, because they've got pilots and a bunch of really cool figures that you can get. I'm doing just red and green. Yes. I wasn't sure, and again, I'm not an expert on this, and maybe you guys would probably tell me more about it, but I was looking at, I basically just looked up flight crew color images and started researching the different colors and what they mean. I know that the red was for ordnance, green is maintenance or avionics, so that's why I'm ended up with mostly green, because they're either going to be maintenance or avionics. So there's only one figure like this guy here with his arms up. He's going to be the avionics tag, but the rest of them are just going to be crew. Like this guy could be avionics too, I suppose, because he's going to be up by the cockpit. So either way, I could have these two guys as avionics and those two as common crew. But again, it's Macross, so I don't have to be entirely accurate. I'm trying to get close enough that it's not going to be I'm just fudging it a little bit, because obviously these are not sci-fi figures. These are made like they're modern U.S. military or U.S. Navy. I mean, I could have done like purple and blue. I mean, they've got a whole shitload of colors for different things, but I only ordered ones that originally I got these for an F-14 build that I did. That was a 1/48 scale Tamiya F-14, and that's what I bought these for. But I never finished them for that. I just finished the aircraft, and then when I got the idea to do this hangar, that's when I thought, you know what, I'm going to use these guys instead, because I couldn't find any really space crew members anywhere that were worth a damn, or it was hard to find. So I was trying to find something that maybe like Reed Oak would have, or something on Shapeways. That's where I got the pilot from. But the problem was I just couldn't find anything that really looked like it would work. So I ended up just using these guys. It's been a while since we're on a flight deck. Yeah. Are you a submariner or just on a ship? On a ship. 'Cause I have an old high school buddy of mine who was a submariner. Yeah, back in Desert Storm days. So I'm just doing the back of his helmet right now. Green maintenance, purple fuel. That's right. Red is crash and salvage. Well, red is actually ordnance as well, and then red with a black stripe is. Oh, okay. So I was correct then. I'm glad that's why not the nice thing about these decals is they were labeled in a way that um, I knew I was grabbing the ordnance decals. In fact, if you look at the single stripe right there, that's the ordnance ones. As far as what they say on according to Hasagawa's list of yeah. Purple's fuel. Yeah, I almost thought about I could do one in purple because I do have I mean technically I'm selling it like like it's a battery charger, charging the batteries on the Valkyrie, but it could be considered refueling. So I guess I could do one in purple because there's going to be one guy standing next to that. But I don't know how well that would work out. I'm probably better off with green. Surface enlisted. I've spent my time on amphibious ships and a destroyer. That sounds pretty badass. Well, thanks for your service, man. I appreciate it. We all do. I mean, you probably don't hear that often enough, so I'm going to say it. Yeah. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I just boogered up my finish back here with the fingerprint. So I'm going to fix that really quickly. And yes, I am using Mr. Color lacquers and I'm hand painting, which is most people would say you shouldn't do that, and I tend to agree. It's not exactly the ideal paint to do hand painting with, and I don't do large areas with it, mostly for stuff like this or touch-ups. But if you thin it properly and you have a decent, some good brushes, you can hand paint with this stuff because I'm using leveling thinner, and that helps it settle down and get rid of any brush strokes or anything like that. But I still need to go through occasionally and touch stuff up. I'm on the last shore duty and plan to retire. Well, good for you. You've earned it. Yeah, my friend I went to high school with, who was a submariner, he's retired now too. Enjoying it. Me, I'm still a few years away from that. So then I'm going to do the undershirt, which kind of shows through the vest in the front, and then the sleeves. Yeah, and then I can finish the. This guy's almost got like a second vest on. It's weird. See, this one's shorter. But if you look at this one, it almost looks like he's got a panel hanging over his butt. I don't know. Huh. Anyway, I'll figure it out. So anyway, let me know if you guys want to talk about something. You got a question, whether it be related to scale modeling or not. Doesn't matter. just give me a heads up. Put it in the chat and we'll talk about it. So now, like I said, I'm just going to do the undershirt, and this is like it's like a pretty dark olive green. It's Mr. Color number 16, IJA green, I guess it's called. And the only way I can see this stuff is with these are, talked about these before, these are my eye adjusters from Micromark. They're adjustable. They go from 0.5 magnification all the way up to 4 times magnification. So they work really good for somebody like me who's blind. Not really, but I need to see, especially up close when I'm trying to do this kind of work. Fuzzy Bear, do you use 9-volt batteries for all your LEDs? Most of the time now, yes. If it was just a single LED, like maybe a Gundam kit or something, and you're lighting up a head or something like that, I'll go ahead and use a 3-volt. But most of these projects I do have multiple LEDs, so I typically try to use resistors if I have to, but I'll put them in series of 3 most of the time if I can work it out right, where I'll have series circuits of 3, so that way I'm just using a 9-volt, and most LEDs run on 3-volt anyway, or slightly higher than that. So I don't need to use resistors if you wire it properly. But if I'm using red LEDs, red runs on the least, like 2.2 to 1.9. I think 2.2 is the maximum for red. So I always have to use resistors, but I still try to use 9-volt. Just 9-volt batteries just have they last long, last a lot longer. I've done big kits and tried stacking 3-volts, but they just don't have the power. They just don't last. You just chew through them way too fast. So by using 9-volt, at least I know I can plug it in and it'll last a while. And I usually bring more than one battery to a show or something like that, especially if I'm trying to light something up. I'll keep some spares on hand in case so I can go around and change them out, keep it looking bright, especially right before judging. Make sure my shit looks good. This pin's gonna be a bitch because I didn't glue this pin in because I didn't want it to. I wanted to be able to remove it, but I'm trying to get this sleeve. He's got his hand or his arm kind of across his knee, so it's a really crazy angle to get around it and get under that sleeve. Have you ever tried using a USB plug to be able to do all the time? Yeah, no, I have not. And I think the main reason, I don't know. I don't have a reason other than I like to hide all my wires. I don't want you to see the wires. Nothing bothers me more than a beautifully painted kit that has a stack of wires sticking out of his ass. To me, it just takes away from the magic of it all. I mean, that's just me. It's my opinion, whatever. So I try to hide any wiring that I do, any electronics. I try to make sure you can't see it. So, especially with this project, I was trying to figure out how to power the Valkyrie and still be able to, I had to have wires coming out of it somewhere. And that's when I got the idea about the refueling line kind of going to it. So I ran my wires through that. So it's basically hiding in plain sight. That's going to work. I finally took a while, but I had to carefully get around that wrist. It's tucked up under his chest there. Yeah, after a shot of whiskey and you're blind. Thanks, Angel. I haven't had a drop today, so. Not a single drop, not even right now. I more than likely will tomorrow, though. because I don't work tomorrow. So I plan on sitting in here and trying to finish all these figures. They don't take a ton of time. And I'm kind of cheating on the steps a little bit because I'm using gloss paint. So instead of gloss coating these first, I'm just throwing decals right on them. There's only a couple on them, one on their back and the back of their helmet maybe or something like that. So there's not a ton of decals. Plus, and the gloss paint is allowing me to skip that clear coat step and then just go straight to finish coats after that. So yeah, I'll have one for you. Go for it, man. At least make it something good, though. Don't tell me you're going to have like a shot of black velvet or some mixer whiskey. At least make it some good shit. Like some Kurtzen or something. I mean, that's what I'd do. So I'm still painting the undershirt. I'm just trying to keep his foot in line. Hey, Angel, Fozzie Bear. Do you guys know each other? Maybe I know you too, and I just don't know you by Fozzie Bear. So. So going around the neck here. I know this might be boring for some, but that's all I got to do right now, man. I got to finish these guys up so I can call it done. I'm really, really hoping that we're going to get a IPMS show this year. I'm confident that they're finally done. And last year it was right around April when they started opening up all the mask regulations and all that stuff. So, but they decided to cancel one more year. Oh, shit. And unfortunately, we didn't get a show last year either because of that. So I think this year we're definitely getting one in April. I really hope we do because I've got a lot to bring. I'll have two Valkyries. One of them is a 120 scale, and the other one's this guy. And then I've got the Hainu Heavy Weapons Verkai Gundam. And no more A Ninja. Oh, that's you? Shit. So John's going Fozzie Bear now, huh? Or Fuzzy Bear. Which one is it? Fozzie Bear. All right, John. Sorry, I didn't know you changed names on me. Or did I get that wrong? Yeah, it will be nice. It definitely will be nice. Yeah, so I got that. I'm trying to think of what else I might have to bring. I think that's it. 3 or 4. Look, let me see what I got. The Vonk, I got the big Hainu. Oh, I could bring the F-14. Yeah, I could bring that, I suppose. But then it would just get chewed apart by the actual, rivet counters over there. These IPMS guys, they don't mess around, man. They do not mess around. So, and I know, well, I didn't really do much to it. It should be accurate. I just bought every single piece of photo etch you could imagine for it. Grills, interiors, even the afterburners are freaking photo etch in that thing. You got to look inside the damn engines to see that. But it's there. There's some crazy photo etch on that thing. I bought this big kit from Edward. It was called, what was it called? I can't remember. They got a name for it. It's like a Big Ed, I think it's called. Yeah, and it's like, kit specific, but it was just basically every single photo etch thing you could buy for whatever kit in one package. It made it really easy. And some of the stuff I got, there was a couple things that were duplicates. Like I didn't have one pack, so I bought it, but it had duplicates of other stuff that was already in the kit, so I had extra in case I screwed one up. But yeah, man, I spent more on photo etch and shit than I did on the damn kit. I got lucky. I found a seller on eBay or somebody that was selling one for $60, and he ended up shipping it from Hobbylink Japan. I don't know where he got it or why he ended up buying that to send it to me, because it came in an HLJ box and everything. But yeah, it was that's a really great kit. If you ever want to build a modern aircraft kit that you're just going to love, get that F-14 from Tamiya, the 148 F-14A. I'm not sure if the D is the same of the same quality, but the F-14A just fits so well. There was nothing wrong with that. The fit was just so perfect. Everything fell together. It's beautiful. And no, I did not do LEDs in that. I was not going to try and fucking light that cockpit up. Fuck that. Yeah, you want to enter your first competition? Yeah, man. You're gonna. No, I'm pretty sure they're gonna have it. There's no reason why they won't. I mean, short of some natural disaster, there's no way that they're not gonna have it this year. You just gotta make sure you got the day off, John. It's on a Saturday, so. Mm-hmm. All right. So I got the undershirt painted. So you can see where we're at. Okay. I got to go around the goggles now and the headphones. And I keep getting reversed here. So yeah, and then we'll do the vest and stuff like that. So I did the headphones in dark gray, black straps. Okay, so I got my plan here. I just got to figure out. I think I'm going to go back to the German gray. No, I'm going to use black. No, I'm going to use German gray. Well, black around the goggles. Okay, so I'm going to go to black. Some gloss black here. He can call in sick. That is true. That is true. He even said that's what sick days are for. This is true. We don't have sick days anymore in Washington. You know that. It's called, personal days, or PTO, whatever. Can't call it sick time. All right, so I'm going to go gloss black around these goggles. Are you using straight colors? Yes, I'm not mixing anything custom. All these are straight Mr. Color colors. I'm using gloss black right now, which is just basic Mr. Color number 2. Got German gray number 40. The green I'm using is just green. That's number 6. We've got that IJA green, which is number 16. The 101 is the clear smoke. The pants are done in this gray, number 305, which is just a gray FS36118, blah, 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 whatever, and some flat white. And then the headphones, because there's like a sandy brown patch on the side of the ear cups, that's number 19. But that's it. That's all I'm using for these guys. I had this other red for the it was 327 gloss red. That's one of the red shades. That was for the ordnance tech. So I'm not painting the actual lenses. I'm going around them because I want to use that clear smoke on the lens itself. So I'm going to be real careful just to grab the edge. You can even see it in the mold. There's that, the goggles have a lip on them, so you can see where the lens is and where the frame is. And I just got to barely grab the corner of that so I don't get anything on the lens. But I suppose if I do, what I'll do is I'll do what I did on the last guy, is I'll just go back over it with a little bit of flat white just to give it that background color, and then go over it with the smoke, the clear smoke gray. Just barely grabbing the edge of that. This stuff is so small. That looks good. I like it. These weren't cheap. I don't typically talk about how much things cost, but I will say these figures were not cheap, but they are well worth it. If you want some really highly detailed prints, and it's printed in composite rubber, it's not like resin. It sounds like plastic. It sounds enough like plastic, but it's kind of a weird texture to it. It doesn't. It's like I said, it's not resin. It's not plastic. It's, according to the packaging, it says composite rubber, and it might as well be like a resin plastic hybrid kind of thing. But like I said, they used live actors to pose in these various positions, like they're working, doing whatever they're doing, and then they scan their images in the computer and actually print it straight off. That's why the detail is just so insane. Wow, did I fuck that up? Okay, not really. I got it. I just took my finger and wiped it off real quick. I almost went over that lens really badly. That's good. Close to polycaps? No, I wouldn't say like a polycap. That polycap, we'd be having problems with paint sticking for sure. I didn't use any adhesion promoter like I have in the past for polycaps. Polycaps are soft. This stuff is pretty hard, but it doesn't feel like resin though. When you drill it, it kind of drills like resin though. It's just interesting. It's interesting stuff. I mean, this is the packaging for them. They just all came in these little blister packs. Kind of got hold the angle so you don't get the glare. But yeah, this is Modern U.S. Navy Deck Crew Standing number 2, www.reedoak.com, and that's REEDOAK.com, made in France. Somewhere on here it says it's printed in, oh, there it is. It says rubber composites, Reed Oak rubber composites. That's what they advertise it as. So, but they're just amazing. And they're printed upside down, because they have like a little round base. It almost looks like an umbrella over their head. So when they're shipped to you, they come on a piece of foam to really protect them. But then you have all these little supports that you have to clip off and sand them and do that before you can. And there's a video on there on how to actually prep them for painting, because there are some very faint print lines. To me, it just looks like the actual fabric. It kind of has that texture to it, military fabric. They use that anti-tear kind of, tear or ripstop or whatever type of fabric. And so it kind of looks like that to me. I sanded them a little bit to get rid of some of that texture, but I didn't try to get rid of it altogether. And I'm painting the little tiny, how the ear cups will have like a little swivel. I'm painting those now. They're just little tiny ridges on top of these ear cups. You can see it. It's just crazy, the level of detail of these damn things. Plus, I got his the straps for the goggles and the straps for the helmet and stuff going around his head. So all these little bits got to get painted different colors. Looking cool. And the clothing part's easy. This is the thing that takes the longest. It's just getting these little fine details. These little layers. That's why I always try to go deep first. Do the lowest sections first and build up. That way you can touch everything up as you're going, and you don't have to worry about going back. I think I'm going to paint that cable last. It was like a feed cable or something for the headphones. It just goes. It's tucked into the vest by his armpit here. I'm not sure where it goes after that, but that's going to be in the way when I paint the vest. So I'm probably going to do that last. All right. Oops. I got a little bit right here I got to do. All right. All right. We are getting there. I think I'm ready to do the gray gray again for the headphones. Yeah, I'll get those goggles one more time. Yeah, that looks pretty good. No, maybe not. I got one little bit I got to get. Still see that ridge that for the frame. There's a tiny bit across the top that I didn't get. I catch myself holding my breath when I do that shit. It's so tiny. The radio is clipped into their belt on the back inside of the vest. Well, that looks, yeah, I guess that makes sense because that's where it goes. It just tucks right in to the front. So like their waist belt, or there's a different belt, something on the inside, because I was wondering if that's why this guy's got an extra flap on the back of his, it's like hanging down past his butt. I thought that because the other vest is shorter. The other two guys that I got standing don't have that. And even the ordnance tech, he didn't have that either. His vest stops right at his belt line too, like this guy. But for some reason, this one, let me see what the description says on the packaging. Maybe it's got a different description for this guy. Here he is. Nope. It just says kneeling number 1. Doesn't say anything about what he might be. It just says modern U.S. Navy deck crew kneeling. Thanks. Pant belt, yeah. That's what I thought. See, I don't see anything in this mold that would show you where it was, if it was on his back. Like, it doesn't give you an indication like there's a box or something back there. So, yeah, I don't know. It's good to know, though. It's interesting. I'm glad you're here to tell us all about that, because I don't know the first thing about their uniforms and why they're done the way they are. Okay, German gray. That's what we're after. We'll do these. You know what? I might actually do the tan. No, I'll do the German gray first. Okay. I'm trying to take my plan of attack here because the headphones on one side has that boom mic, so there's a lot going on where that attaches to the ear cup. So I've got some layers there that I've got to paint. I got to get that tan color underneath, but then I've got all the little cables and stuff on top, so I'll figure it out. That's why we're using this guy. He might have a long sleeve shirt untucked. Well, that's very true. Maybe that's what it is. You know what? I think you're right, because there is a distinct line where the vest stops. So that means I got to go back and paint that shirt there. You're absolutely correct. I don't know if you can see it. I'm gonna try to get the focus there. Okay, you can actually see the line where the vest stops, and then there's that flap hanging down. Come on, man. I thought you were a professional. Tuck your fucking shirt in. What the hell? Right, John? Tuck your shirt in, right, John? Actually, we don't wear our shirts tucked in at work anymore either. So us big boys. Yep. I just like those radios. They get dropped all the time, and they expect us to fix them all the time. Yeah, right. It's your equipment, right? You're supposed to fix it. Damn. Yeah, I could see how that would be frustrating, especially if you're not the one damaging it. You know, it's like if it's my stuff and I'm taking care of it and I screw it up, that's one thing. But to have somebody else jacking your stuff up and then making you fix it, that would be frustrating. So I'm just going after these ear cups right now with this German gray. Wow, there is no room. Do-do-do. Yeah, I think I can do the rest in tan once I get this. There we go. That looks pretty good. Yeah. All right. So we got one Navy, we got one Air Force in the room. We need a Marine and we need Army. Where are we going to find those guys at? All right. I think I'm going back to. Actually, I'm going to do those tan cups on the side. I guess I can see how long it takes to paint one of these. I've been up for about an hour now. About roughly halfway, 3/4 maybe. It's all the detail stuff. Like I said, the clothing's easy. Doesn't take much at all. I'm still going to try to go back and do the panel the wash on that guy now that he's dry. It's one thing I do love about these Mr. Color paints is their drying time is so fast. That's what makes them hard to hand paint with, but you can also handle something in 30 minutes. Or less in some cases. So now I'm just doing the tan sides of these headphone cups. They have kind of like a, let's see right there. Come on, focus. There we go. Little side, little tan color on the cup. And again, I'm no expert. I'm basing this off of images I found online. Just trying to see what these crew members look like and kind of what they're supposed to be painted like, so I can get close enough. All right. So, been watching any hockey, Angel? I got a game going on in the background behind me. I can just barely hear it. I got the volume turned way down, but okay, that looks pretty good. All right. Now I'm going to paint the microphone, because now that I've got everything below it painted, I can pour some black over all that stuff. And then the wash will help highlight that stuff as well too. If I don't get it perfect, that's okay, because the pen line wash will help blend some of those edges. All right, back to black. I'm no expert, and I was in the service. Yeah, well, I guess it's kind of like my dad. My dad was a Navy Seabee, but he was a mechanic, so he didn't even. I mean, he was never really on any ship, so everything I saw him doing was always land based or whatever. And then, he's got his Vietnam veteran, hats and stuff, but he never even went over there. He was here the whole time. So I'm just painting the side that has the microphone. There's some little greebles and stuff attached to the side here that I'm painting black. So I've got over the top of that side cup, that beige cup. It doesn't need to be too many different colors here. I'm pretty sure that entire boom mic is black in real life. This is the one that accidentally broke off too when I was showing these the first time. I was cleaning up some of the nubs from the supports off of when I was cleaning them up, and I squeezed, I guess I held on a little too tightly and popped off this little microphone. But with the help of some CA glue and some accelerator, I was able to attach it again. That looks great. I like it. And the sad part about this too is that once I flat coat everything, it'll kind of tone everything down. All these bright colors, they're shiny, but when you flat coat them, it just creates a nice realistic look. All right. I guess I can do the clear on the goggles now. I was stationed with the Seabees for 3 years. I did my deployment to Afghanistan. Nice. Oh, cool. I guess we got something in common there. Again, it was my dad. I didn't do any military service, nor did my other brothers. My son was stationed in Afghanistan in the Army infantry. So he did his 2 years over there, and that was all he needed. All right, so I'm going to do clear 101. Dab this on there. I'm dabbing this on pretty thick too, because I know it's going to settle down. It's the nice part about the leveling thinner is it will settle down, but by doing that, I get a nice tint. It looks pretty realistic. So I'm just kind of saturating the brush pretty good. And I'll go over this and hit it again with a second coat to make it darker. But the initial coat gives it that kind of that nice hue to it. I got a bubble in there I'm trying to get rid of. Get out of there. There we go. All right. So now I'm going to go for the vest. Go after the vest. I'm going to paint that. That's going to be the dark green. Unfortunately, that decal set doesn't come with any avionics decals. It's mostly just like the list here. This is the instruction booklet. So let me get this back on before I have a disaster. Get you out of the way. So we got, take these off, please. So we got catapult, arresting gear, catapult crew, plane director, plane captain. It's funny, they spell plane P-L-A-I-N-E. And there's some pilots. And then we got maintenance men, ordnance men, fuel handler. So those are the only decals that came with the set. I don't know if they make another set, like a set B. I'm assuming they do since they call this one set A. But I'll figure something out. I'm going to use these. The maintenance guys use these checkerboard things on their back. So I'll probably end up using one of those. Or maybe go with, I don't know. We'll see. I'm going to see what the fuel handlers have big old F on their back for fuel. But I don't have any fuel guys, so I don't think I'm going to be using those. I don't know. Purple would be kind of cool, though. So now you got me thinking. I might have to try one of those. I might have to do one of these guys in purple. I got a guy here, and I got a guy with his arms crossed. Which one? Who's the guy standing around getting paid? The guy with his arms crossed? Yeah, that sounds about right. This link breaks down. The color's best. Oh, cool. Thanks for popping that up. I'll put it on screen for everybody if they want to copy and paste that. Or I don't know if you can copy it that way. I think you just have to input it, but cool deal. Yeah, the plane captain's got the checkerboard. Flight director, catapult operators. I'm not using any of those guys, so I don't need them. I don't know. Let's see. 42. Oh, okay. So I could use, well, that'd be another fuel handler. I could use the VF84 decal for the fuel handler. Oh no, that's an ordnance. Sorry, that's ordnance. Yeah, I don't know. I'll figure it out. Doesn't matter right now so much. Come on. When the cap comes off, it stays on the bottle. An extra twist. All right. So now we're doing vest, which I think I used this one for. No, this one. Yeah, there we go. I don't know how this one brush got frayed a little bit. Like the tips were fine, and one of mine had just like, I don't know if I stored it a certain way, and it just barely kind of messed with the bristles on the ends. This one's still good. All right. So time to slather on the green. Now this will take 2 coats as well, because the gray primer will show through a little bit. But that's all right. It almost adds highlights with the gray kind of showing through. It actually looks like kind of gives it a worn look to it, so it's not a huge deal. Yeah, it looks good. And this guy with his freaking folded arm, that's the tricky part. I got to get around this arm again that's folded across his knee. Eesh. This is one of the more challenging ones. I thought this was going to be a little easier, but because of the way he's posed, and these figures come whole in one piece, you don't glue anything together, so you don't have the option of painting something first and then popping it on there. You just have to kind of go around it. My friend Dan Salas, he had several of these that he painted for his F-14 build as well, except he painted hand-painted camouflage on their pants. Talk about time-consuming. Holy crap. He goes, yeah, it took forever. Like, and to do it in this scale and make it look right, that's the hard part. And so I finished my first perfect grade. Well, that's cool. Which one was it? His old granddaddy or something else? Perfect grades are huge. Big boys. Now, are you when you say completed, you're talking about just snapped, or are you painting them, or what are you doing? How deep are you going? How far down the rabbit hole are we talking? Wing Zero. Okay, nice. That one's relatively new, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not too worried about that cable. I'm going to be painting it, so just trying to get enough in there. I typically go around all of the obstacles like shirt, shoulder, things that I have to paint around. It's almost like framing a room. When you paint a room, you do the trim edges first, and then you just roll on the center, the center of the wall. It's kind of what I'm doing with this. I'm going around all the edges just to kind of frame out what I have to paint, the whole surface, and then just I can blast it all at once and get it all in there. The vest though sticks out, and you actually have areas inside the vest because it goes into the armpit, like the armhole area. So you got to get down in there deep. All right, there's the cable. That goes in. So yeah, we're getting there. Kind of coming together. And got his pant leg too, which is kind of in the way. I'm also trying to hit him in the hands either. His hands are just kind of hanging there, and I don't want to have to retouch the flesh tones at all if I can help it. Well, that's part of the cable. Okay. Can't tell if that's vest or not. I think it is. There's a spot down here by his waist. Actually, no, that's just going to be pants. Okay. Snapped it. It's a special color plastic, so it will not be customized yet. Okay, gotcha. Are you going to purchase water slides for it? Or did it actually come with water slides, which I doubt seriously, but it's one thing I can never figure out. Why Bandai, I mean, they got to start listening to people. You know, it's like, look, man, I just spent how many hundreds of dollars on this thing, and you're going to put stickers in my kit? You know, it's just like, come on. Pony up for some damn decals. It doesn't take much to put water slides in. Stop making it P Bandai. Only in Japan. Shit. Although I will say the Dom 1.5 came with water slides, which was nice. They weren't very many, but it still came with some. So I'm just getting down almost to the bottom of this vest here. So right where the pant leg and that untucked shirt is hanging out. I'm just going to go across the edges, and then I'll fill in the big area on his back. And then it's just his shoes and pants. And those are single colors, so that's not going to be too big a deal. That I highlight with panel line wash. I might actually have to hold his foot. If this pin doesn't stay in, I'm going to be in trouble. It's difficult to distinguish where the shirt or the vest ends and the pants start because there's no real distinct line there. I can kind of see. Yeah, that looks good. I mean, just the little wrinkles and everything that they have. I mean, just the details are unreal. There we go. Now I think I'm ready just to fill in. Now that I've gone around all the edges and all the difficult spots, now I can just fill in the shirt. Need to step away for a few. Okay, see you in a bit. No worries. I'll be here maybe. I don't know. We're already at an hour and a half almost, so might go to 2 hours this time. All right. So, there we go. Oh, focus. There's his rack. It's hard to see because it's shiny too, but I got to do a little bit of touch up around the back of the neckline there. There's part of the shirt kind of poking through that I missed the first time I went around. clean off the green here. And that's this color here. Plus I got the bottom of the shirt that I guess I'll do while I'm doing this now anyway. Go. All right. Yes, I need this little guy here. I'll switch brushes once I get the. There's like a tiny little bit of this shirt poking through. Because I got a second, I'm going to do a second coat of that green anyway. If I do this a bit sloppy, it's okay because I can easily touch it back up, which I think I'm going to have to for sure. All right. All right, I'm going to switch brushes now. Get the back of that shirt. Working on your kit right now, John? Doing that side glow fiber optics, side emitting or side glow fiber optics. It's pretty darn cool. I was using the wrong brush that whole time. What the hell? All right, so I got more of this undershirt to paint here. It's hanging down. Under the vest. Oh yeah, I see it now. Kind of has a split in the side. And it comes out just under the vest there. Lots of LEDs to go. Yeah. Did you use that site to buy? I think you said you got them on Amazon, but I know Angel found a website that has those pre-wired LEDs, the little tiny ones too. They might even have that wire that you need too. I don't remember. It's been a while since I looked at that site. But they might sell the wire separate too if you've got to connect a bunch of them together, because I don't know how long the leads are on the pre-wired stuff, but it could be of help. Maybe you can have Angel post up the link, maybe if he's got it handy. Why are these falling off my face? These eye gestures don't have long arms. The arms on them aren't very long, so they don't really sit over my ears. They sit kind of on top. And I bought these little rubber hooks to help keep them on, especially in the summertime. So if you're sitting here and you're working, looking down, and it's a little warm, maybe you're sweating a little bit or something, all of a sudden they start sliding off of your nose. It's like, what the hell? So I bought those little hooks to keep them on my face. I didn't think I needed them now, but I'm sitting here and they're sliding down. So I'm just getting the bottom of the shirt. Almost there. Trying to do the ridge, the bottom ridge. As it overhangs his pant line here. There's some of that shirt that I've got to paint the backside of. There. A little bit here too. On the side. It looks good. Okay. So yeah, that's definitely an untucked shirt sticking out there. It was 32 gauge. Yeah, well, I looked down. They didn't have the size side glow I needed. Oh, well, I'm not talking about fiber optics. I was talking about the LEDs, but I thought the wire you were looking for, because you were talking about running wires through the kit. That's where you need a pin vise too, is because you're going to have to, if you're doing custom wiring like that, you've got to be drilling holes through parts and running wires through little tiny holes that you put in the. So let's see here. Should I do his pant leg? Oh, I missed some under his arm. I hate that. I think I got it all. And then again, these prints are so detailed. There's like little crevices that you don't see until you realize that's gray primer showing through because you missed one little spot under his armpit. Or sort of, not really under his armpit, but there. All right. Yeah, that's the stuff I bought on Amazon was 32 gauge, but for some reason I could only find, I don't know if it's the black or the red. There was like one, I can only find one color now. I couldn't get the second one. I guess you don't need to have two colors. It's just a lot easier to know what's positive and negative when you're using two different color wires. But maybe you guys can let me know about magnet wire. I have magnet wire, and I think magnet wire is coated. So it looks like, even though it looks like they can touch, they don't get affected because there's a coating on the outside. But I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sure of that. I think you have to be careful with magnet wire too. You can twist them together, but I don't know. I've not used it for LED work. The only time I bought magnet wire to make something look like a cable by wrapping it in magnet wire and then painting it, but I've never used it for actual wiring LEDs. But I've seen it. I mean, looks like I've seen people use it. What is going on with these brushes? This one's still good. Okay. So I'm going to do his pants now. This ain't going to be easy. His knee is up against his vest. Then he's got his arm folded over. This is going to be fun, trying to get in there. I gotta go past his hand. Hoo-wee. I actually got it. That's pretty good. All right. Looks like I got it. It was sketchy there for a second. I had to go real slow. It's the smallest braided wire. Yes, I know. And that's one thing you can find single core, like single strand wire, but I prefer to use multi-strand wire because it's a better conductor. I mean, granted, we're using low voltage LED applications. It probably won't matter, but yeah, that was the thing I think I ran into too, was the smallest I could find that still had 6 strands per wire was the 32 gauge. And it's small. It's pretty small. It's small enough to do most work and work well with any kind of LED custom work. But you're working with a master grade kit, so you should have. I mean, it's still going to be tight because it's got an inner frame and there's all these parts and everything together, but you still should be able to run wires through it. You just have to be careful where they go and whether, if you're going to be, putting them through a joint where it's going to be bending or something. That's something you got to take into consideration. But more flexibility for bending. Yeah, that is true. Single core wire will break over time if it's bent back and forth. It fatigues it too much. But I found those wire strippers on eBay. Actually, that set actually came with a small enough stripper for 32 gauge. It's the only one I could find that actually worked on 32 gauge. Yeah, this is the only part in this print that I can see that's kind of not that good. It's right where the shoe is tucked in. It's hard to see where the pant leg ends and the shoe begins. It's 1 foot under him. Oh, that's a trip. I guess I got it. That's pretty close. I can touch that up later. Yeah, this shoe is not exactly the most detailed. This is probably the only thing I noticed on these prints that's kind of iffy. Is this bottom shoe that's kind of tucked under him. He's kind of sitting on it. So the detail is not there. I wonder if when they did the scan, it just didn't scan that well because it's tucked in there in a place where the scanner couldn't see it as well or something. I don't know. Right now I'm just going around the bottom areas and stuff, just trying to get, it's like there's all these little openings that I've got to basically stick the brush through. And hopefully not mess up what I've already painted. But I can touch it up, I suppose. Okay. Surprised we didn't see George on here tonight. He was all gung-ho for. When he found out I was going to be on, he was like, yes, 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 yes. But, oh well, he's East Coast, it's sometimes it's hard to stay up late. Just get all these little crevices, man. It's a lot. I've almost got this one leg done because it's just, there's so many little areas around it. The hand, arms alongside of it, and its foot tucked up underneath him. So it's making for a lot of little. I got to be very patient and move slowly because I'm in these little tight areas I don't want to screw up. Getting there. All right. That's for that one. Now I just got to get this straight leg. This will be a little bit easier. Straight pant leg's not too bad. And then I've got the cable I got to paint, and then the shoes. And that was pretty much all the base colors are down. Never did get to the panel line wash on that one guy. But I also got to figure out what decals I'm going to put on him, if I'm going to do any on his helmet too. Since he's a avionics guy, I don't think I have any avionics decals, so I'm going to have to pick something that works. All right, that looks pretty good. Looks really good, actually. Okay, so for the cable, I think I'm going black on that as well. How's everybody doing? Still with me? Got 3 people left. We had 10 at one point. Everybody's waning. That's why I'm wondering if I should cut these off at like an hour and a half. It's hard to keep people piqued interest for 2 solid hours. When really all I'm doing is just painting. But I don't know. We shall see. All right, now let's see. I think this one will work. No, I think I'm going to use the smaller one. All right. So now I'm just going to run this cable, let's paint this cable going down to its vest here. So I didn't do this the first time because I still had to paint the green vest first. I wanted to get that down first before I damn, that's hard. So small. There. All right, shoes, and then we're done. Halo. Oh, you're doing Halo? That's right. You usually end up blowing shit up while you're watching me. Yeah. All right, let's see. I need a German gray for the shoes. Stupid cap stuck again. Ah, come on. You're messing with me. There. Okay. last step for all the basic colors, and then we're done with this guy for the time being. And that's to paint these shoes gray. German gray, to be exact. Really, the only thing that might be any accurate is the vest and stuff on these. The pants and stuff, they're not necessarily the right colors, but again, I'm trying to stick with something that might be a space flight crew. You know, they might have just a single colored uniform. So that's why I'm sticking with like the pants and the shoes all the same color. And then just try to make them unique by their different vest colors or something. It's not going to be 100% accurate. But like I said, it's Macross. So it's fantasy anyway. Right? It ain't real. This may be a fun one because this one's tucked up underneath him. That darn pin keeps rotating. I guess I didn't glue it, so I'm just holding it there, but every once in a while the brush will grab the figure and it'll just like spin on me. All right, other than a few touch-ups, he's done. I'm going to do one more layer on the... Actually, I'm going to do one more layer on the goggles first, and then I'll call it done. I'll look back up on Amazon and see if I can find that wire again. I don't know why I have such a hard time finding. I mean, it might be supply issues right now anyway, but I've been having a hard time finding both red and black. All right, second layer for the tinted goggles. Done deal. I like it. All right, let's see if I can give you guys a look here once I clean out my brush. Okay, so here we go. This little microphone and wire going down to the vest. That looks pretty darn good. All right, now maybe we can do some pen lines on this guy. Nice. Thanks, bud. Thanks, both you guys. Not bad for 2 hours worth of work. Jeez, it took that long. All right, so I'm just using standard old Tamiya panel line access color and just kind of going over everything, because there's a lot of little creases and stuff on these pants, so I'm not trying to just get into the panel lines. I'm almost doing a wash, treating it like a wash and just going over the whole thing. Then when I remove it the normal way with a Q-tip and some enamel thinner, it will just leave the highlights there and remove the rest. Let's see, so like the pants right now, come on, focus. Let's see if I can turn them there. It's kind of hard to see. It's more just like a wash. It's really dark right now. What are we making? Hey, what's up, man? You came in at the last minute, didn't you? I'm doing the figures for the Macross diorama, the hangar. I painted another one. I've got a couple of them already done, but I'm just putting some pen line wash on this one. And then I'll remove it all, and hopefully we have enough time here. I'm going to try to get this done before we end the stream tonight. So I'm putting it on the vest too. The only thing I'm not going to touch with this pen line color is his face. I'll do every other part, the helmet. I just don't need anything. I've already done that wash from the Citadel wash on there, so I don't need any of that panel line stuff. Any extra, especially black. I definitely don't need that. So I'm just spreading this around. We're watching the rest of G-Witch. What's G-Witch? Do I dare ask? So I'm really putting a lot on here. I don't need this much. It's kind of just saturating everything, but it's all right. It'll come off with the enamel thinner. It's a pretty simple process because it's not like individual panel lines. It's mostly just clothing wrinkles and what have you there. So just a matter of highlighting those recessed areas, and then we're done. It's got a little bit on its hand, but I can take that off. All right, I'm give that a few seconds to dry, and then we will take it off. Take off the excess. Okay. Witch from Mercury. Nice. What network is that on? Is that a Netflix thing or something like that, or something else? Is that, I don't know. I've not heard of it, so you tell me. Oh, never mind. You see, that shows you how much I'm up on new Gundam stuff, because I just like building models. I don't know enough about all the series and that stuff. I'm gonna turn this fan on for a second. Dry this guy off here. Witch from Mercury. We'll have to check it out and see what it's all about. This guy's almost dry. I probably should have waited. In fact, I know I should have waited until I put decals on here. So I'm going to have to probably redo some of that. No worries. I personally don't care for the series 2. Kawaii for me. The last 2 episodes really felt like Gundam. Oh, that's good. So now I'm just using some AK odorless enamel thinner, and I'm going over this guy, taking off the excess of panel line wash. Probably gonna need a new one. This one is getting saturated, so I'm going to bust open a new Q-tip here. Holy crap. I want to offer promotion for your channel. Who is this? Twitch. Help me out here, Vanderlei. Who's Karasek FJ? I don't even know who this is. The price is lower than, oh boy, here we go. Yeah. It's always somebody trying to sell something. So what do you think, Ben? Should I do it? Probably not. That's a Twitch user too. Nobody else on YouTube does that or anything else. Just somebody on Twitch trying to get me to spend money to promote myself, huh? Just taking off the excess here. It's taking a little time. These darker creases will soften up too once I flat coat it, but right now it looks pretty stark, but that's all right. It'll lighten up. It's a trap, yeah. It usually is. I don't pay for promotion. You know what I mean? Do I really need to pay somebody to help promote my page? No, I don't think I do. I really don't. They have that on Netflix Japan. It doesn't. Yeah, it probably wouldn't if you were watching it over there. It probably wouldn't have it subtitles or anything, huh? So I'm just doing the final bit here, and then we're going to call this. I'm getting the last of this pen line wash out of the creases of this guy's shirt. And then I'll Trying to give you a view. It's going to be a little bit hard to see because it's still glossy and the camera just picks up shiny stuff like nobody. Yep, I think I pretty much got it. Okay. So let's just give you a quick shot here. I'll show you what this looks like now. Now that we have you can see how it's kind of highlighted some of those creases. And again, those will soften up too once I flat coat it. But I've got to put some decals on, which I should have done first, but no big deals. I can easily fix it. There's going to be something on his back, probably a checkerboard or something. I'm not sure. Avionics, I'm trying to remember what they use, but I'll put the decals on, especially the helmet, and then his back, and that's pretty much it. I'm ready to flat coat. So, what do you mean you don't want to be famous? No, Freddie, not that bad. I don't mind building my page and stuff. I'm not into paying somebody to do it. I mean, come on. I just build models for fun, right? It's a hobby. Then I would say no. Yeah, that's exactly right. You're exactly right. Anyway, guys, it's been 2 hours. I'm going to call this one in the books, and I appreciate everybody coming out and joining me. Again, Happy New Year. Sorry I was gone for a couple weeks. No big deals. That's the holidays. That's what happens. And but we're back at it, and hopefully every Sunday we'll be here at 6 p.m. Pacific. I'm trying to also create these events a day in advance so people have time to see it and know that it's coming, and so it's not so much of a surprise. I remember the first couple of times I promoted it and or I created an event like within hours of actually going live, and it doesn't gain that much interest because nobody knows it's there. So it's easier for me to do that a day like on Saturday. I'll post it up there and then people know it's coming. So, but anyway, yeah, every Sunday 6 p.m. Thanks for coming. We will talk to you again. We'll hopefully have these figures done by this weekend, and I'll be starting on the next project. So hopefully next stream you'll see will just be a recap of this, and the next one will be, I think I've decided on the Iwata spacecraft model kit. So it looks like an airbrush, but it's a spacecraft. Comes with its own light kit. It's pretty cool, and we'll show you that next week. So talk to you soon. Be good humans. Treat everybody good. Hug your relatives. Hug your mom and your family, because you never know. Tomorrow they may be gone. Talk to you soon, guys. Have a great night.